Grand Theft Auto is one of the most successful gaming franchises of all time. Starting in 1997 and spanning across 13 different titles, the series has gained a status of notoriety that other series could only dream of having, with the most successful game in the series, Grand Theft Auto 5, being the second highest selling video game of all time, right behind Minecraft. The franchise has made the company behind it, Rockstar, a tillion amount of money, with GTA 5 alone generating approximately over $9 billion in total revenue. Needless to say, the franchise is at a level of popularity and acclaim that cannot be replicated, with the 6 mainline installments releasing later this year. The series, ever since 2001, has been on a constant rise, with each game surpassing the previous in terms of quality and experience. Vice City 1-ups 3, San Andreas 1-ups Vice City, Five 1-up San Andreas. Grand Theft Auto 4 was released April 29th, 2008. It was a series jump to HD and is currently the 3rd highest rated game on Metacritic, with a score of 98. The game has you follow the perspective of Niko Bellic, a Siberian war veteran who travels to America to live with his cousin Roman in Liberty City, in hopes of pursuing the American dream and to find the man who was responsible for an ambush that killed Niko's friends in war 10 years prior. Upon arrival, he finds out that Roman was lying to Niko about his luxurious lifestyle, instead learning that he lives in a dirty apartment with rat shit coffee and runs a failing taxi business while also being in debt to loan sharks. I guess you could say he really is living the American dream. Throughout the game, you get yourself entangled in a life of crime in order to pay off the debts, while in process of doing so, gaining the attention of powerful crime lords and mobsters who end up leading the pair of Niko and Roman into more trouble and conflict, which inevitably leads to Niko falling back into old habits. So, after finishing the game twice at this point, I feel confident in saying that Grand Theft Auto 4 is the weakest entry in the entire series. Put the gun down. If you don't believe me about the quality of GTA 4, then I want you to take a look at one of its most glaring problems. There's an internet cafe that you can walk into, and once inside, you have access to the game's internet feature, in which you can take on side missions or browse freely. However, the minute you start using the internet, Niko's private information is stolen by hackers, and all of a sudden, you get a 5-star wanted level as the Liberty City Police Department learns about your location and tries to kill you because of the things Niko was looking up. Having this in the game is a massive flaw, and it's a detriment to the flow of the game. The only possible way that I could see this problem being fixed is if Niko had access to Aura, the sponsor of today's video. See, because Liberty City is a city full of corruption and crime, there are going to be lots of undesirable people trying to get a hold of people's private information, Niko included. I mean, how else do you think those hackers and criminals make so much money? They sell your private information to data brokers in order to make a quick buck. And thanks to data breaches, it makes getting that information more and more easy. So if you were to protect your online information in Liberty City, or any city for that matter, then the best way to do so is with Aura. You can tell that Niko doesn't have it. So many crime lords and criminals have gotten a hold of his phone number and email. Truth be told, if he just had the protection needed, then maybe this whole game didn't need to happen. And how wonderful would that be? Aura can protect your online information using military-grade encryption. With a strong, secure VPN and a powerful antivirus feature, having Aura can ensure that your internet browsing experience is as safe as possible and free from invasion. It will monitor your data 24/7 and alert you the instant they notice shady activity, and when they do, they can remove any data that brokers and identity thieves may have gotten before those brokers even realize that they have it. And in the unlikely scenario that something goes wrong, Aura will provide you with $5 million in identity theft insurance protection. They have experts on standby ready to help 24/7. And if you're someone like Niko and you are way too busy to keep track of so many apps and programs just to handle all of these features, then you can rest assured knowing that all of this is in one easy-to-use app. If you want to try this for yourself, then you can get a free 14-day trial by clicking the link in the description or going to aura.com/Limus. That is more than enough time for you to learn if your data is at risk. Give it a try, you have nothing to lose doing so. Now, even if we can find a solution to one problem in GTA 4, we still have a lot of problems in the game to explore, because again, it is still the weakest entry in the series. What I mean by this is that the game is a massive letdown with a lot of missed potential. It's not a bad game, but it's a very mediocre one when compared to what came before and after it. Today, I want to talk in length about my problems with this game and why I feel the way I do about it. Let's have some fun, shall we?
We got trouble.
There's no coffee in this cup. Now, I'm not going to deny that GTA 4 was a revolutionary game for its time, but the impact it had doesn't take away from the fact that it's the one GTA game that hasn't aged the best. And I'm not just talking about the humor or the writing, it also has to do with the presentation and gameplay. When putting all of that in comparison to what came afterwards, or hell, even before, I just think it falters in those areas. And I really shouldn't have to say this, but I feel like I have to. If you like Grand Theft Auto 4, cool. More power to you. Don't be an asshole. That's my job. I hope you guys like this new setup for IRL segments. I'm gonna do more stuff like that to spice up the videos more. So please let me know via written email what you think of this. My email is infinitesimp@fuckyou.com. Also, before this video begins, I want to plug my Patreon real quick. So right now I'm working on a super long video about the history and career of WWE wrestler CM Punk. I have over 40 pages of it done, and I am still not at the halfway point. But because it's going to be a long video, smaller parts of that video will be uploaded on my Patreon early for those who are $5 patrons. I'm going to start utilizing my Patreon a lot more for people who want early access to my videos, and you can also watch videos a week before they release to the public. I'm also going to let you know ahead of time, WWE is the equivalent of Disney when it comes to copyright enforcement, so the actual video about CM Punk is going to be heavily censored to meet their strictness, but if you want to see the full video ahead of time, uncensored and uncut, well, not uncut, but uncensored, go to my Patreon and pledge $5 to get early access to it and have it be completely uncensored. One last thing, I'm gonna start streaming more on my Twitch. I took a break from it for a while, but I'm about ready to get back into it. So after this video is up, I'm going to be streaming a lot more on my Twitch on twitch.tv/limusslime. So if you want to see more stuff from me, then go check that out. Alright, that's all I want to say. We can get started now. So here is my problems with GTA 4. I don't know why I'm going for a sip again. You already know this is empty. Welcome to Liberty City, a fictional location based off New York City, famous for being dirty and having some of the most insane people to ever exist. It's a perfect location for a GTA game. Niko Bellic is a Siberian immigrant who comes to America to search for the person responsible for getting his friends killed during war due to his setup. He reconnects with his cousin Roman, and the two of them get caught up in a life of crime trying to deal with the debts that Roman has. Things start to get heated as Niko retaliates against Roman's loan shark, Vlad Glebov, who is killed after sleeping with Roman's girlfriend. However, after Niko does this, Roman panics, letting him know that Vlad had connections to powerful people in the Russian mob. Niko initially shrugs this off, but the both of them are eventually captured and brought to Vlad's boss, Mikhail Faustin.
Good lord, what are you doing?
I'm gonna butcher so many names today. Faustin interrupts his associate from torturing Niko and antagonizes him for the pointless capture. He then kills him and releases Niko on the grounds that he works for Faustin as a hitman. Niko is then ordered to kill the son of a Russian crime lord, Kenny Petrovic. After he does this, Petrovic threatens retaliation, and so Faustin's lieutenant, Dmitry Raskolov, convinces Niko to assassinate Faustin in order to satisfy them. After he does this, Dmitry betrays Niko and is then set up as the main antagonist for the game. And so, throughout the course of it, you are caught up with numerous situations and end up working with many different people. So much so that the main storyline involving Dmitry just kinda gets pushed to the side. And this is one of my biggest gripes with the pacing and progression in GTA 4. You are set up with this story involving getting revenge on Dmitry, while also finding the identity of the person who betrayed you in the army. But then, the game just thrusts you into other storylines in the meantime. And I'm not saying the game can't do this, I think having secondary storylines helps keep the game fresh. but Dimitri just flat out disappears from the main story for like most of it, until he shows up again at the very end. It makes it hard for me to be invested in him as a villain when he isn't even relevant for most of the game. After he burns down your apartment and the taxi business, he just vanishes from the story for most of it. Yeah, he makes like small appearances and phone calls and shit like that, but the story just goes on without him. He has to take a sideline while Nico instead gets into shenanigans with a wannabe vigilante named Manny, and a corrupt cop named Francis, and a drug dealer named Elizabeth, and a crack distributor named... There are so many secondary characters and storylines that you end up forgetting that this game is about taking revenge on Dimitri and the person who set you up in the army. There are so many instances in the game where I grew more and more disinterested in whatever story was going on, and it just became more of a chore to get through the game. The story has the fucking pacing of like a season of The Simpsons, where it's just one situation in one episode, and then a completely new situation in the next one. Like, where the hell is Dimitri in all of this? I don't know if it's just a me problem or what, but the flow of the story is so sloppy, and it became very hard to get interested in whatever was going on. Okay, now, a game that handles pacing much better in comparison to GTA 4 is undoubtedly, in my mind, GTA 5. In that game, while it takes a while for you to learn about the villains, everything leading up to their introduction all has its purpose. You get entangled in the life of crime again in order to pay off a Mexican drug lord, and you perform a jewel heist which draws the attention of your old partner in crime, who initially thought that you were killed by the FIB over a decade ago. So he tracks you down in Los Santos and puts your case manager Dave Norton, who provides your quote-unquote witness protection, into a panic, as he is starting to realize that Trevor is a ticking time bomb that will eventually find out why you survived the initial bank heist that got you killed. So because of everything spiraling out of control, Dave's boss Steve Haynes gets involved and uses his position to coerce the protagonist into working for the FIB in corrupt missions, or else they will be put in prison.
Some of the government, some of it is pretty corrupt.
Not your bit, right?
Yes, but we're corrupt in a good way.
And along with Steve Haynes, a billionaire venture capitalist named Devin Weston also gets involved in the drama, as he offers the protagonist a business opportunity, with each one having strings attached to them, just like a real billionaire. After he betrays the trio and tries to kill Michael DeSantis' family, both him and Steve Haynes tell Franklin to either kill Michael or Trevor, with the canon ending of the game being all three of them killing their enemies, including Devin and Steve.
So now what?
Devin Weston and Steve Haynes are present in the majority of the second half of the game, and even when they aren't involved in a mission, they are constantly a looming threat over the player no matter what. They play a significant role in the story and aren't just thrown aside for the main character to do their Saturday morning cartoon shenanigans. All of that bullshit is put in Stranger missions, which, by the way, are leagues better than the Stranger missions in GTA 4.
Here, can we just get a quick photo together? Cheese.
What is this?
I really think I can't treat you anymore. The fact is, I'm in love with you.
The fuck?
Now, focusing back on that game, Dimitri doesn't make a significant appearance for most of the game, and instead only shows up through phone calls. When he does show up again, it's only after Nico goes through like 6 seasons worth of episodes in terms of plots and arcs, and he just reminds the player that they are the villain of the story. So for context and to catch things up, Nico becomes a hitman for the Pegorino crime family, who promises him the location of one of the 2 people who survived the initial ambush that got his friends killed in the army if he does jobs for them. This person ends up not being the traitor, and don't worry, I have a lot to say about this character in a bit. After he hits a dead end, he still works for the Pegorino crime family and maintains a good relationship with their Don, Jimmy. But after he is asked to help with a heroin deal that involves Dimitri, you are then given the option to either get revenge on Dimitri and betray Jimmy Pegorino, or do the deal. Both options lead to the 2 different endings you can get for the game. If you take revenge, you attend Roman's wedding with Mallory, only for Pegorino to show up in a limo and perform a drive-by in an attempt to kill you. However, he ends up killing your girlfriend, Kate McGreary, instead.
Oh,
Oh, we're so sorry to hear about your brother that passed away. He gets 5 big booms. Boom! 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 Boom!
A character that I have not mentioned up to this point because they matter so little to the story. I'm gonna piss so many people off by saying that. After which, you have a final showdown with Jimmy Pecorino to end the game. But, if you take the deal, Dimitri betrays you again and sends a hitman to the wedding to kill you, only for the hitman to shoot and kill Roman instead. And the final showdown of the game being with Dimitri. Okay, now, Taking Revenge is considered to be the best ending of the two by fans of the game, but I think it's the most underwhelming ending of the two. After all this time, with Dimitri being built up as the final antagonist of the game, the last showdown is instead with someone who was only established as a villain 30 minutes ago. I don't know, it just feels so thrown together at the last second. The deal ending was a lot more impactful, and the fact that you have a much deeper connection to Roman and him being killed would be a much more emotional ending to the game. I'm sorry, but Kate barely had any screen time, and any time spent with her was either optional or not romantic in the slightest. To me, it just feels so impossible to have any emotion over her being killed because 1, there's way too many characters in this game, so she just kind of takes the background to everything else. And 2, there just isn't enough interactions between Nico and Kate for me to feel any sort of connection that the two possibly have. I don't know if that's just the fault of me not doing the romantic side missions that just get pushed to the side or what. Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't have an emotional connection towards her being killed because I didn't go bowling with her that one time. And even with all of that, Dimitri was just not in the game long enough for me to be invested in taking him down. Like, yeah, I had more investment over taking him down than Jimmy Pecorino, but that's just because Jimmy Pecorino was introduced as a villain literally like at the last minute of the game. Okay, so I'm not kidding when I say this. There are over 4 hours worth of cinematic cutscenes in Grand Theft Auto 4. Guess how much of that time includes cutscenes where Dimitri is involved? 19 fucking minutes. Dimitri isn't the only character that I have an issue with in the game. I mentioned earlier the character that Nico first thought was the person who betrayed them in the war. Ladies, gentlemen, and NBs, let me introduce you to Florian Kravitz. This is Florian, also known as Bernie Crane. Easily one of the worst characters in the entire game. Bernie fought in the same wars that Nico fought in as a teenager, despite presenting a masculine front and telling people that he wanted to become a professional wrestler.
Well, you're not gonna bust a nut anytime we're in the ring.
I'm gonna get off by cranking your knob.
I'm gonna come on you like nobody's ever come on you before.
When I get my hands on you, I'm gonna eat your ass like a pot of collard greens, baby.
I'm gonna stretch his ass like it's never been stretched before.
Bernie was a closeted homosexual, and as we all know, according to this game, being masculine is only a heterosexual thing. Now, a couple videos ago, I showed him as an example of poor representation, and yeah, you're about to find out why. Bernie is a very stereotypical depiction of a gay man that was clearly written by a bunch of bros whose only knowledge of gay people comes from watching Family Guy. And of course, as we all know, Family Guy is notorious for good LGBT representation, right?
Whoa, I knew he was gay. I didn't think he was that gay.
No, Peter, he's not gay. He's a woman stuck in a man's body.
Yeah, gay.
It's totally different.
Sounds the same.
Well, it's not.
Okay, so he wants to be a woman so he can be a lesbian?
No, he'd date men.
Gay.
Bernie has an artificial, high-pitched voice, flamboyant mannerisms, cowardly behavior, a fixation on appearance and fitness, a high sex drive, and a history with prostitution. He ticks every box. It's actually insane. I should not have to explain why these stereotypes are harmful and why the queer community condemns them. It's boiling down their sexuality to a joke that's meant to be played for laughs. It's making their identity into a character where the entire point of their existence is to go, look how weird gay people are. Do you want to know why pricks online say things like, I'm okay with gay people as long as they don't make it their entire personality? It's because of shit like this. They see characters like this in games and in shows and movies and go, yeah, that's how all gay people act. And it's annoying, right? I look forward to comments saying, man, Limus, why did you have to ruin this game review with your woke nonsense? As if the Grand Theft Auto franchise isn't already a series famous for criticisms of American capitalism and its culture. Another part of Bernie's character is that he is engaging in an affair with Bryce Dawkins, who is a character in the game that is running for mayor and is a part of the Republican Party. I feel like this would be funny if the whole Republicans are closeted homosexuals joke didn't get beaten to death in the coming years, and just make the whole thing damaging to the queer community. It reinforces this stereotype that queer people's worst enemy is queer people. Like, no, I'm sure that in 2008 it was a more unique trope to include, but it just doesn't age well considering the political climate today. But I'm mostly bringing it up because a big part of Bernie's relationship with Bryce is that he is trying to manipulate him into leaving his wife. Hell, there are also numerous occasions of Bernie manipulating Nico or flat out sexually harassing him.
Oh, you're still in great shape. You work out? Not really. Is there a name for that fitness plan? I'd take a class if I could be guaranteed buns like yours. Oh my god. You're the lucky one. What? You could slice cheese on those puppies.
Again, do I really need to explain why this is a harmful stereotype? Oh, but Limus, you might be saying while also smoking crack. There's a mission where Nico helps Bernie by beating up a homophobe who was threatening him. Surely that's a plus to the writing of Bernie and pretty progressive, right? Yeah, well, in that exact same mission, Nico calls Bernie the F-slur and later on alludes to him being gay as a choice.
Your choice is your choice, man.
So, yeah, congratulations, GTA 4. You almost reached the bare minimum. Now, Bernie isn't the only character in the game that has questionable representation. There's also Little Jacob, but I'm not really going to be talking about him in this discussion because, well, look at me.
Well, well, well. Guess who just got kicked out of Starbucks for, you guessed it, being white?
Regardless about my feelings with this story, I still like certain things about GTA 4. Nico is one of my favorite GTA protagonists. He's no Michael DeSanta, but he's still great.
Why don't you do something then? Besides just stand there. Why don't you hit me?
Is that what you want, to be hit by your son?
Yeah. No.
Roman is a fun character, and I like the shenanigans involving him. And, yeah, I think that's about it. Okay, Limus, so you weren't a big fan of the story, but surely you liked the gameplay, right? Grand Theft Auto 4 is one of the most sluggish gameplay experiences I have ever had in an open world game! Okay, let me slow down. The gameplay is very questionable. One of the most infamous aspects of the game is by far the driving. If you want me to describe what it feels like to drive in this game, I want you to imagine driving a car in GTA. Except the roads are every single ice level you have ever played in a video game. Because the game tried to focus on realism rather than, you know, being fun, the driving in this game is finicky, and the slightest turn can be enough to make your car do a full 180. Now, some people do like the driving in this game, but I also think those people are masochists. Comparing the driving in this game to 5 or even San Andreas is night and day. When comparing those games, they can find a good balance between realistic and arcadey driving. It's fun to control, and it's believable enough that you can actually feel as though you are driving a car and not just a toy. But in GTA 4, driving is so scuffed that it feels as though you are controlling a bobblehead in the form of a car that was drenched in Vaseline. And if you thought it was bad with a car, just wait until you drive a motorcycle in this game. You will never understand true frustration until you try to operate a motorcycle in this game while trying to do the final mission. It's something I would not wish upon my worst enemy. Another thing about the gameplay that leaves a bad taste in my mouth is the combat. Gunplay is either stiff or very slippery. The melee is sloppy, and it doesn't even lock onto the person you are attacking. So 9 times out of 10, you are just punching and kicking the air, and the targeting and cover system is way too finicky to feel fun. I never feel like I'm in a high action setting when I am in combat like I am in other GTA games. Here, it just feels like a chore to get through. But it's okay though, because most missions in this game last like 5 seconds, so it's not like there are too many cases where you need to get into massive gunfights. You have a cutscene, drive to an objective, shoot one guy in the head, mission complete. These don't feel like missions, these feel like tasks on a to-do list that I'm crossing off. But hey, if doing missions aren't your thing, that's totally understandable. At least there are many other things you can do in Liberty City. You can go bowling, you can play pool, You could go bowling. There is nothing to do in Liberty City. A lot of people talk about this game like there is a never-ending amount of stuff to do. Like, oh guys, there's so many interiors you can walk into. No, there isn't. And the ones that you can walk into, there is nothing to do in them, so what's the point of making them interiors that you can walk into? But the main thing I'm talking about is the activities in the game. They are just that, activities. They don't feel like a reason to keep playing after you finish all the missions. Let's see, you can call Brucey to do races, but I never wanted to do them because the driving is so horrible that it makes the races not feel worth doing. You could go to the internet cafe to accept exotic export missions or look at outdated humor written by a team of frat bros, but the export missions are way too easy and there's only 10 of them, and they cannot be replayed. There's also assassination contracts which also cannot be replayed, and there are only 9 of them. There are taxi missions in this game just like any other GTA game, but you can't do them anymore after Roman's taxi business is destroyed. Why? Just steal a cab like the rest of the games. Why are you going out of your way to punish players for proceeding in the game's story to make it less fun? Most of the other things that you can do in this game are either pointless or not enough to suffice replayability or reason to keep playing beyond the main story. Now, compare that to the game that came before this, San Andreas, where you can, let's see, oh yeah! Racing, dance minigames, play pool, do trucker missions, shoot hoops, lowrider minigames, taxi missions, vigilante missions, burglary, pimping missions, gambling, paramedic missions, firefighter missions, quarry missions, 100 gang tags, 50 snapshots, 50 oysters, 50 horseshoes as collectibles, dirt bike races, horse betting, stadium challenges, arcade games, and that's just scratching the surface. This is a PlayStation 2 game, and it has more things to do than this one, which came out the generation afterwards. And while I'm at it, the soundtrack for San Andreas and 5 runs circles around 4. What does 4 have? Let's see. They got Kanye, the Smashing Pumpkins, Kanye, and then you move over to San Andreas, and they got like Killing in the Name of. Welcome to the jungle. We got fun games. Just waking up in the morning, gotta thank God. I don't know, but today seems kinda odd. Look in my eyes. What do you see? The cult of personality. And I feel the time's a ways to go. So where you going for tomorrow when I see? Yeah, I'm gonna break my rusty cage. Who won't you fly free bird, yeah. And now I'm running down a dream that never once come to me. Working on a mystery. Hey, little sister shotgun, it's a nice day to start again. I've been on the desert with a horse with no name. It felt good to be out of the rain. Your contribution left unnoticed, son. Association with an image. You're perfect, yes, it's true. But without me, you're only you. You're only you. I believe them bones are free. Roller coaster. Ooh, 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 roller coaster. When we pretend that we're dead. When we pretend that we're dead. They can't hear a word we say. Reach out and touch faith. Also, does GTA 4 have a radio DJ like Sage? I didn't think so.
Good morning, San Andreas. The baby boom is officially over. You are all irrelevant. Now die.
I love her so much. Basically, my point is that GTA 4 is probably the weakest soundtrack out of all the GTA games. Now, there is one song they could have added that would make me change my mind. With arms wide open under the sunlight. Probably one of the biggest things you will notice about GTA 4 when you first play it is just how ugly it is. The game came out around a time where it was a trend for AAA games to use the color palette of grays and brown. So everything looks like the saturation was turned down to 25%. A lot of people defend this, saying that it's like that because the game has a serious story. I always thought this was just a massive cope, because you can make a game look visually appealing and still have a serious story at the same time. Many games have done it before this and continue to do afterwards. While San Andreas was a lot more of a satirical story, it still had its serious moments, and that game came out on the generation of consoles before this, and it looks far more appealing than GTA 4 does. I get that 4 wants to tell a serious story, but my god, it does not mean that you need to make your game look like it would taste just awful. Actually, now that I think about it, this is a pretty accurate recreation of just how dirty New York is. So because of that, it's only fair that I give this game a perfect score of an 11 out of 14, and also a ring pop. Now, I'm not going to pretend like San Andreas and 5 are perfect games. While I consider them to be the best in the series, I still think they are flawed in a lot of ways. But now that 6 is on the horizon, even though we still know nothing about the game, I think it's pretty obvious that they're going to be building more off of what was working with GTA 5. Because, whether we like it or not, GTA 5 is the most profitable piece of media ever. It would be stupid of them not to use it as a blueprint moving forward. Meanwhile, GTA 4 has taken a backseat in Rockstar's history, and while I'm not in favor of games not being preserved, no matter how bad they are, I understand why Rockstar isn't too in favor of remastering 4. It's a flawed game, no matter how much people want to admit otherwise. But if it were to come back in a big way, I think it deserves a full remake from the ground up, because there are way too many problems with it that can be fixed with just a simple remaster. But yeah, that's pretty much about it. I hope you enjoyed this rant of GTA 4, and with that, we can toast off this video with some hydrochloric acid. Thank you to my patrons for helping make this video possible. People like Panda Cade, Ellender, and Gabe Neal. Your support means the world to me, and it helps me to continue to do the things that I love. Thank you all so much.
Here we go, here we go, here we go, get ready. Get me, big boy. Get me. He ain't gonna bite me, look at that. This chicken shit. Look at that, bite me. This damn snake won't bite me. You know why? Because I got the best moonshine around. It's